Aloha, Ragu Frey, reporting fourth day of no food and water. I was expecting to be in convulsions and headache and fever. So, as um, some may have heard, this is addressed to friends and family of concern, and of course, the appearance of another wild goose, Ragu chase of some idealistic foray into politics. But the story is actually significantly more dreadful than that. In short, I actually believe I'm dying, and I've been able to stave it off over the years, but I believe it's um, escalating to a point where I've not been able to get a control of it. Um, and so I've been trying to account for the best ways to go about dying. And to explain what that illness is in a minute. But the time honored tradition, there is no suicide but for fasting. And so I've, I'm 60 years old now. And my older godbrothers, my mother's generation, in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, they're passing away. And on their deathbed, they're fasting from food and water. And this seemed to be, this is a honored way of going. And so I've been considering that. Now, ideally, I would have been able to go to the pilgrimage place most sacred for devotees in India, but I've been stranded into my house, which I'll get into details more in a minute. And so, if I'm going to be doing this fast, I wanted to lend it to a cause that I really believe in. Now, in this case, that cause was the Budapest Memorandum and the end of nuclear war. Um, so my fast was no food or water until Tucker Carlson covers the Budapest Memorandum and asks Putin if he would consider swapping out the Orishnik missile for nuclear weapons. In other words, the end of nuclear war. And knowing that nobody takes fasting seriously. There's going to be no response there. And it wasn't going to be a test of wills that, I'm on my deathbed. People have a change of heart. People are pretty busy nowadays. It would be in tribute after my passing, though, that the message would get out. And so that's what I was counting on. So this wasn't a grudge match to test my will against either the inertia of a public response or the class division that we have with media. Tucker Carlson, talks as a man of the people, but unless you're somebody, you're not going to get through to him. And there's no politician that would be able to take this. They know better than to step outside the agendas of a political party. So um, this was to be an extension of donating my death. I'm not dying for Ukraine, but if I'm going to die, then donate that for the cause of the Budapest Memorandum, more than Ukraine, the Budapest Memorandum. So I had given thought to the devotees, uh, you know, fasting from food and water until they die. And so it was more about that process than anticipating that there would be any intervention, media or political or otherwise. Now, here's what has happened instead. Um, I would start getting fever. I jumped in the ocean. I'm right across the street from beautiful Waikiki. Um, and um, I would get a little lightheaded. Um, I didn't get headaches, and I almost got nauseous a couple times, and a little dotty, and a little bit of cotton mouth. But by day 3, I was expecting fevers, seizures, fever, nauseous, and about making my way through that. I spent so much time in India sick, 5 years that I was there. I got 106 fever twice. I know that's supposed to be death, but that is not my karma to die. It's only supposed to go through the process of death a dozen times or so. Too much bad karma there to be allowed to pass. But I woke up this morning and my kidneys, which have been very sore and hurting for years now, and more intensively over the last few months, about 1/3 the pain. My back, I've not been able to hardly get in and up and out of a seat, is about 1/3 as. Now, I don't know if you can see my face from just yesterday. My face today, the circles under my eyes are gone. The bloating has gone down by about 60, 70%. So the swelling in my stomach and the pain in my stomach is almost also completely gone. And so I'm beginning to, and I'm still peeing by day 4. So I think what that so-called bloatedness was liquid, and so my body's been using that liquid. Look at me. This is look terrific. So I think I may have broken with this fast the bottleneck of my health. So that translates as in medical terms, they call it triglycerides, high triglycerides. Healthy is supposed to be 150, 350 is considered high. Mine runs 1,500 on a good day, 2,500. And so that translates as the doctors say you're looking at organ failure. And I believe that's what's been happening to me. I lost my health insurance once I became owner of the house. So I have no money for that. And so I've been able to stave that off. I would take some fruit drink, vegetable juices, or some purium, or some yoga. And I had a program where I was able to do yoga 250 consecutive days, missed 7 days of that. And I got it down to 500 instead of the 2,500. But now it's catching up to a point where I didn't think I was going to break it. I believe that this fast has. So, as much as I was looking to be able to um, pass as in that state of fasting, um, when I woke up and I was feeling really good. Look at this. The circles are gone. Got color in my face. Um, um, I think I think that this has been a cure to the situation, and so the idea of breaking my fast with the purging, doing the um, lemon oil as a gallbladder cleanse, and fresh fruits and vegetables as an additional cleanse, if that can cure me, that is actually my first. That's my first choice. So at this point, I don't want to fast to injure myself. I just can't believe how much better I look. Jesus. To injure myself when I'm getting better. I am happy to honor a passing if I'm truly terminal, which I know I could get better, but I never felt that I had the resources, the acupuncture, the massage, the yoga, the swimming, the biking, the massage, the gym. If I did those things, because I've done this before, and I've been able to. And so I believe that this is really just liver failure from having jaundice about 6 or 8 times as a boy in India. And other friends of mine are doing, have had to deal with that. Now, for the Budapest, the reason why this is so important to me is that it's a pill to the Putin delusion. Uh, Simply put, um, Putin has managed to convince the world that he has been valiantly standing up against American aggression to overtake and destroy Russia. The Budapest Memorandum is a clearly defined document that tells an entirely different story, a story that has been missed by everybody that's covered it. They keep talking about it as a peace document, and it isn't. It is a testimonial to the political marriage between Yeltsin, the new president of Russia after the fall of the Soviets, and President Clinton. Um, Yeltsin had taken Clinton on his mentor of how to transition Russia from the old Soviet ways into a modern world. And so he had opened up the floodgates of not transition, but um, a rush to the Western world from Europe and America. And this wasn't just in the peace treaty. This was a social, economic, political, as well as in defense. And that is the tone of the Budapest Memorandum. That is, hey, we're going to take these nukes from Russia's going to get these nukes from Ukraine. And it's really simple language. It's like one of the most simply languaged political contracts that Russia will not tamper in any form, politically, social, economic. Spells those out just that simply. Political, social, economic, militarily, we will not use weapons on you, and we definitely won't invade, and that America will stand as guarantor of that. And this was by Yeltsin's prodding, because Yeltsin was like, Clinton, show me how to do this. I really, so many of the Russians, they wanted to reconnect with what they thought was the modern world, which was the Western world. So the languaging now is that America is a warmonger, and we have Bush Junior and Senior that may prove the point. We have Obama and Biden that may prove the point, but there's two presidents that don't. And of course, for the Trumpsters, they say that it's Trump. The other one is President Clinton. And so, in retrospect, some people say, well, he was, but at the time, most Americans felt that he was a peacemaker. And what the Budapest Memorandum is uh, is a clearly defined document of the golden age of America's era of peace and prosperity. And even though most of us may not believe that today, Yeltsin and the Russians did, and they brought Clinton in to do so. And so you hear the oft uh, mentioned refrain where Baker told uh, Gorbachev when he had handed over East Germany to Europe. He said, "We won't take an inch past Germany." And then they say, "And look, America is taking all these." And of course, this is Putin's quotes that are now repeated so much. But America kept its promise. It didn't go past Germany. Yeltsin did. He laid out the red carpet to America and the West. Please come in, help us transition. Please help us connect with the modern world. And so all those Eastern European countries, they were ecstatic and looking to reconnect. And then Putin comes in, scared the shit out of everybody. And so they made the entreaty, please connect us with NATO to protect us from Putin. So the Budapest Memorandum is a clearly defined, simple um, testimonial to the brotherhood of peace and prosperity of the political marriage that we had between Yeltsin and President Clinton. That Yeltsin had taken the initiative to bring America into to make that transfer. And so the odd man out is Putin. And it's so crystal clear that you will not have any of the right wingers mention it. John, it's a, I can't believe I just forgot his name. Mearsheimer, um, Jeffrey Sachs, uh, I can't believe I forgot his name. Morris, I forgot his name. Craig Morris, um, Rick Ritter was his name. Colonel McGregor, none of them will mention it. It's the poison pill of the Putin delusion. So that is just one of about 45 essays I've written, about four books, and they culminated in an actual peace proposal, which I'll be presenting. I call it of the nine cards of um, the nine cards of negotiation, and there's another set of 40 cards of diplomacy and the trump cards of peace. So they all culminated in that from all of these essays, and we can get into those. Um, but the punchline is that the real issue here is that Putin had established an artificial moral mandate that America was the aggressor and Putin is the valiant defender. And the Budapest Memorandum is a reset of that moral mandate. And then from there, everything else can be discussed, the details of it. And the best example of that is President Ronald Reagan. I only have about maybe 1% left of battery on my computer, so it'll be going shortly. Um, so Reagan started, he's credited with winning the Cold War, but it started with him establishing the moral mandate when he called the Soviets the evil empire. And so the Budapest Memorandum is that, and then from that, no price was too great. We were willing to accept the cost as well worth it. We were able to hold steady in the face of horrific threats from the Soviets, and we were able to provide a genuine reassurance to the allies that were being scared by the Soviets that, if you're going to let America put in missiles, just because we have missiles pointed at you, America is going to be the tipping point. So you see all of these same things at play with Putin today, because he's an old Soviet Bolshevik looking to reassert the Soviet empire. And so he takes it as a personal loss to his dreams of that Soviet ambition for having all these countries. And he drew the line, Ukraine. Unfortunately, it was the wrong country to draw the red line, because Ukraine has specifically been given the get out of jail card from Russia with this Budapest Memorandum, wherein Yeltsin in Russia asked American President Clinton, please guarantee Ukraine's sovereignty against Russian aggression, because Yeltsin was like, that's our past. We're ready to go and join the international community. There is no more conflict. And that was true until Putin came in. Putin is the rotten apple here, not America. And then so that's the reason why I was asking, put so much emphasis on Tucker has been dodging the Budapest Memorandum. It's really funny to see, because he seems such a straight shooter, but he won't touch this one because they called him out on it, any number of legacy media, when he did the first interview with Putin. So the second thing was, and this was a real game changer, the Orishnik Russian hypersonic missile has just converted nuclear weapons as obsolete. Some more details on that. And so I wanted Tucker to ask Putin, 2 more minutes and I'm done, or 1 more minute, to ask Putin, now that you have this Orishnik that can hit most any military target throughout Europe, travels at 6,000 to 8,000 miles an hour, so fast that there is no countermeasure. There's not even time to get it out of the way. It was like a minute and a half or 3 minutes, whatever the case is, when they blew up the factory in Ukraine as the first demonstration of its power. And it pulverized it at 8,000 miles. It just pulverizes everything. It's bunker busting. Now, why would you need to add a nuclear warhead to kill the 50,000 people of the town, or whatever the case, the number of people is? You don't. If you have 100% immediate access without any ability to counter, then you just ended any justification for a nuclear warhead. So the world has not realized Putin just made nuclear war obsolete. And so we wanted Tucker, hey, ask Wooden, would he consider swapping out nukes for the Orishnik rather than adding nuke heads to it? So uh, that was the purpose of this fast to, well, the purpose of the fast was actually to transition in an honorable way, but I was donating that passing for this cause. Given that I believe that I will get the maximum amount of potential rejuvenation by breaking my fast, I'm going to do that either today as the fourth day or tomorrow morning, probably tomorrow morning. Uh, but that is the reason why I took this fast. Um, I am cornered financially and in health, um, and I don't seem to be able to get out of that. So I have a house with an 80%, 70% equity, but there was a claim by my mother's ex-husband, which is easy to erase, but it takes like 2, 3 grand in order to do so. I just don't have it. So, if I could borrow 50 to 100,000, my $500,000 home would now be worth $1 million because it's actually a commercial property. But I don't have the money to do it, and so I'm just sort of caught in this limbo state. So I didn't know how to break it, and without the resources, I wouldn't be able to recover my health. And so my big fear was that, and so high triglycerides doesn't count with Social Security until after, the doctors say this is this is eminent organ failure, but it doesn't count with Social Security until after the organs fail, which I believe is really pressing up to the point of now. And so my big concern there is that after that point, I would simply be given into um, a um, hospice, which is mortifying to me. These are death camps. Hence, I wanted to go to Vrindavan, and I can't do that. And so, if I'm going to have to die, this seemed to be the most auspicious way to do it. But with this fast, we'll see if I've been able to break at least somewhat this and give me another day to come back and fight. Anyway, that is the latest here at the Gandhi statue, day 4 here in Waikiki. And sorry for the unnerving things that appear to be doing. And to that point, the way this high triglyceride count and this, what appears to be a liver failure, is sort of like a really bad hangover, and I just can't get out of bed. So it's not like I can go and get a job while I'm like this. I'm just, I just collapse. And then I have my teeth rotting. So 1, 2, sometimes 3 at a time, leaving me with fevers now for 5 or 6 years. And so I've not been able to get my footing in order to be able to. These are all curable if I had the resources and time to do it. And without it, I've just been living as something of a zombie, half dead. And so this seemed to be the way out for me. Anyway, I'm willing to give life another chance, see if it works. And if you like this consideration about the end of the nuclear war, guys, it just happened. I know it's so anticlimactic. Pass it on. And it's really important for us to appreciate to reconnect with the best of what America was, which is what the Budapest Memorandum is, and in so doing, reset the terms of engagement with Putin. So it was great to beat up on Biden saying that America's war in Ukraine was an evil. But now that the Republicans have their President Trump, to continue that line of reasoning is only disadvantaging your man. The 40 cards of diplomacy and 9 cards um, of negotiation will change that. So please consider that before you make any final. Um, Big aloha from Waikiki, and thank you for your time.